Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Okay, so we're going to explore this really fascinating paradox in the modern world of tech right now, something I like to call the textual boundary. I mean, we hear about artificial intelligence taking over the world literally every single day, right? But when you actually take a closer look at what it's doing, there is a massive, highly specific gap in its capabilities. So today, we are going to break down exactly why AI acts the way it does and why it so clearly favors office jobs over physical trades.
Seriously, think about this for a second. Why hasn't AI replaced your plumber yet? Right now, as we speak, artificial intelligence can write a highly complex legal contract. It can approve a massive financial loan. It writes flawless computer code, and it can even pass notoriously difficult law exams. But it still cannot fix a leaking pipe under your kitchen sink. It can't lay a straight row of bricks, and it absolutely cannot perform surgery. So why on earth is AI taking over office jobs first, bankers, lawyers, customer support workers, while physical jobs are still overwhelmingly safe? Well, there's a surprisingly simple reason for this, and once you see it, you won't just know what AI does, you'll actually understand how it fundamentally works.
To get to the bottom of this, we need to look at Section 1, what AI actually eats. What's really interesting about the diet of these massive AI systems, and honestly, what most people completely miss, is that they were never trained to understand the physical world. Their entire reality is built on billions and billions of documents, contracts, emails, code, tax forms, legal papers, news articles, books. That is the food these large language models like ChatGPT and Claude grew up on. They did not grow up experiencing the world through cameras. They didn't have robot sensors feeling the weight of a physical object. They have absolutely zero real physical experience.
The absolutely crucial point here is that AI learned from words placed in patterns, not from cameras or robot sensors. And because its entire existence is based on consuming written language, naturally, what AI became remarkably good at is any job that is, deep down, really just moving text from one place to another. It is literally the ultimate pattern matcher of the written word.
And that realization brings us right to Section 2. The office is just text.
Let's use a quick analogy to see the stark contrast between these two worlds. Think of a digital data task, like a banker's job. It's basically like sorting differently shaped blocks into pre-labeled buckets. They read numbers, they read applications, they check those against a rigid set of rules, and then they write out a decision. The blocks, the data, are already clean, and the buckets are already labeled. They aren't lifting anything heavy, they're just processing data. But a physical world task, like a plumber facing a wet pipe in a strange-shaped house, that's more like exploring an unmapped cave in the pitch dark. The leak they're looking at today looks absolutely nothing like the leak they fixed yesterday. They're dealing with messy, chaotic, completely unorganized reality.
Let's look a little closer at that digital side. There is this secret loop behind almost every office worker. Step 1 is text in. A lawyer reads a law or a contract, or a customer support worker reads your angry complaint. Step 2 is process. The lawyer matches it to old contracts. The support worker matches your complaints to the company refund policy. And step 3 is text out. The lawyer writes a new contract. The support worker writes an email reply. Text in, process, text out. It's just a closed, entirely predictable loop.
The reality that no one ever really explains clearly is that banking, law, HR, admin work, they're basically just giant machines built fully out of language. Forms, contracts, policies, IT tickets, all of it is just organized text moving through a system. And that is exactly the kind of pattern a language model is explicitly built to handle. AI isn't just accidentally good at this stuff. It's good at it because the whole job was already just clean data long before artificial intelligence even showed up at the office.
But what happens when we leave the safety of the office? Let's look at Section 3, pipes, plumbers, and physical reality.
Physical work demands touch, balance, quick changes, real-time physical judgment. Remember our plumber analogy? A plumber does not work with clean, organized data. There is no neat little PDF document that fully explains how to fix a rusted pipe in a cramped, dark cabinet. You literally have to figure things out with your hands, right there in the problem, adjusting your grip and your balance millisecond by millisecond.
To even try and solve for this, engineers have to rely on something called embodied AI, which is artificial intelligence that has to control a physical body in real space. And here is the truly surprising part you should take away from this explainer today. Robotics and embodied AI are many, many years behind language AI.
And why is it so far behind? Well, because the real world does not come pre-organized into neat little text files. Language is something that has already been organized by humans, right? It has rules, grammar, structure. The physical world? Not so much. A robot has to figure out depth, grip, weight, and sudden obstacles in real time using cameras and sensors, and then immediately decide what to do. That is a much, much harder computational problem than simply guessing the next word in a sentence. The office job wasn't safe because it was somehow more intelligent work. It was at risk because it was secretly already digital.
Okay, so how do we actually use this information? Let's move to Section 4, Future-Proofing Your Career.
This contrast is honestly incredibly eye-opening. Think about tasks that are easy to turn into text: legal research, accounting, customer support, basic coding. Now compare those to tasks that need real hands-on judgment: surgery, construction, plumbing, elderly care. A surgeon seems vastly more skilled and highly trained than an accountant, right? I mean, we just assume the accountant's job is harder for a computer. But surgery needs real, fast, high-risk hand movement in an unpredictable, messy place, which makes it very hard for AI. Accounting, on the flip side, is mostly organized numbers and rigid rules, making it very, very easy for AI.
Which brings us to this brilliant quote that perfectly illustrates the core thesis of our explainer today. It is not about intelligence. It is about what kind of problem the job really is: a text problem or a physical problem. AI does not replace jobs based on how hard they seem to humans. It replaces jobs based on how easy they are to turn into text. If your job, even partly, can be described as read text, follow rules, produce text, well, that specific part of your job is a massive target for automation.
So what do? The smart move here is absolutely not to panic, but to adapt. The goal is to move toward the parts of your work that AI truly struggles with. Lean into judgment calls. Be physically present in your work environment whenever possible. Provide creative direction that actually requires human intuition. And, most importantly, strive to understand the undocumented context. You know, that messy reality that isn't written down in any company handbook. Next time someone tells you AI is going to replace everyone, you will know the actual truth. It isn't replacing everyone. It's just replacing the folks whose job is secretly just moving text around.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. I want to leave you with one final provocative question to think about. What job do you think AI will struggle to replace the longest? Think about everything we just covered: the predictable text-in, text-out loop versus the messy, chaotic, unorganized reality of the physical world. Think about what requires true human judgment and physical presence. I highly encourage you to ponder this as you look at your own career path and the new skills you might want to develop next. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep learning, keep adapting, and I will see you in the next explainer.